sequel is out, the Boston Red Sox 1988 Part 2. Here's a quick review. A new manager makes his Major League debut. Joe Morgan leads the Sox into yesterday's doubleheader by firing up the rocket. A known Royal nemesis, Roger Clemens, racks up 16 strikeouts, allows a mere 5 hits, and with little insurance from Dwight Evans and his towering 2-run blast, cruises to a 3-1 victory. Not a bad way to start. And then it was time for Game 2. Now, here's where it really gets good. You see, in this game, it was the hitters who took over top billing. Wade Boggs with a solo home run in the second. Rick Cerrone with a 2-run shot in the fifth. Jim Rice, 3 for 3. This was really getting to be a show. And to spice things up, how about a pickoff of Bo Jackson? Or maybe the 9th inning, 2-men-on situation where the ace reliever strikes out the Royals' top hitter to end the game with a big Hollywood finish. Now, the best part of Bo Sox 2 is that it's only the beginning. This afternoon, it continues here at Fenway. Oil Can Boyd takes the hill against one of the top pitchers in the American League, Mark Gubicza. Add to the cast of characters, Larry Parrish. The Red Sox acquired the right-handed slugger yesterday. He could prove to be the extra bat from the right the Sox have been needing. The second half of this season has started out to be a show you won't want to miss. Up next, it's the Red Sox and the Royals live on NESN. And what we have is another magnificent setting for baseball. Folks out in the bleachers ought to have themselves just a grand old time. Hello again, everybody. I'm Tom Larson. And while most sequels, Jaws 2, The Rockies, The Rambos, and all, are never quite as good as the original, Joe Morgan's production debuted to rave reviews with that doubleheader sweep last night. It's early in Act 1, though, and up in the balcony, Ned Martin and Jerry Remy.
Thank you, Tom, and good afternoon, everybody. A hot, humid day at Fenway Park, and the Red Sox trying to make it 3 in a row over the Kansas City Royals. They go with Oil Can Boyd against Mark Gubicza, which isn't a good layover sometimes. You're talking about betting. Oil Can is 0-2 and 1-7 against this team this year, but these days, who knows?
Boy, I'll tell you, last night was something. That's a good way for Joe Morgan to start. Not bad to have Roger Clemens out there in your first game, but Mike Smithson did a heck of a job in the second game for him. Pick up a couple of games since coming back from the break. There's 7 games out now, so keep this home thing going, try to pick up some ground.
We'll be back with the starting lineup and the game right after this. The Kansas City Royals lineup goes like this afternoon. Willie Wilson in center field. Bill Pecota at short. Kevin Seitzer at third. George Brett at first. Danny Tartabull in right. Pat Tabler, the hitter. Bo Jackson in left. Mike McFarlane, the catcher. And Brad Wellman at second base. The umpiring crew will be Darrell Cousins behind the plate. Rocky Rowe at first, Greg Kosk at second, and crew chief Larry Barnett calling the plays at third. And boy, this day was built for baseball at Fenway, at least from the hitter's standpoint. The wind is blowing out hard. It's close to 90 degrees, I would imagine. It's hot. It's a little bit heavy, but it's ready for baseball, and Red Sox trying to keep kicking off this second half. They have a job before to do, of course, with Mark Gubicza, one of the top pitchers in the American League this year, going against them, and already with a win over them and a loss this year. But it's a new wave, and we'll see what happens. It's a nice crowd. John Wathan, the manager of the Kansas City Royals. Elsewhere in baseball is Detroit at California, Chicago at New York, Toronto at Oakland, Minnesota at Baltimore tonight, Milwaukee at Texas, and Cleveland at Seattle, also night action. National League, the Dodgers at Chicago this afternoon, Houston at Philadelphia, San Francisco at Pittsburgh, Cincinnati at Montreal, and the Mets at Atlanta, San Diego at St. Louis, all night action. Good crowd again at Fenway Park, and they are packing them in. Of course, the winter sale helps. The aura of, or whatever is happening around this ball club seems to bring curiosity seekers here too as well, Jerry. Say, what's going to happen next with this ball club?
It's amazing the way the ups and downs of this ball club have gone all season as the Red Sox take the field. All of a sudden, you look at the standings this morning, and you're only 7 back.
Can't believe that. You saw 9.5 for so long, and all of a sudden there's 7 out. With the Tigers having lost, the Yankees right there now. They're 1 game out of first place. And I would imagine the Red Sox would have to think, let's set our sights on the ones right ahead of us, and then we'll move on up. It's a long way to go.
Well, not a bad time to be playing well at home either. They've got a lot of games coming up at Fenway Park. Good chance to make up some ground, and they've been playing much better at home recently. Started before the All-Star break and before they won on that last road trip.
Coming back now, kind of a new regime with Joe Morgan having won 2 as manager. And some changes coming along with Larry Parrish, who will be here this afternoon. There's the kind of an azure sky over Fenway, some white clouds. And baseball is in the air here. And don't worry about all these articles about football teams reporting to mini camps and training camps. It's still not time for that. Oil Can Boyd out there, and, well, it's been a while since he's gone.
And a long time, Ned. The last time he worked was on July 7th against the Twins in Minnesota. Won that game 4-3. Had 6 strikeouts in that game to tie his season high. Was supposed to pitch the other night, of course, with the rain delay. And, of course, after they called the ball game off, could not come back the next night. He did have a full workout out there doing his warm-up, so they put him back. And here he is today making his 19th start of the season, trying to get over that 500 mark. 7 wins, 7 losses, a 5.20 ERA. In 109 innings, he's given up 129 hits, struck out 57, walked 35. He's given up 19 home runs, something he'd like to cut down on, obviously. And had some tough times against the Royals. 0-2 this year and 1-7 lifetime.
Last time out against them, he did not pitch that badly out in Kansas City before we got there. Or as we got there, really, on the 2nd of July. He went 7 1/3 good innings, giving up 7 hits and just 3 runs, but lost the game in a 3-1 affair. In the game that manager John McNamara and Dwight Evans got kicked out, and a few other things happened. But Boyd is ready and pumped up, and of course, we have been saying since opening day a very big key to this ball club, and so is the comeback of Bruce Hurst. Got to have him, but meanwhile, I think, Mr. Remy, that a bow and a tip of the hat would have to go to Mike Smithson for the job that he has done in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Absolutely. Did another fantastic job last night. You know, a couple of times you think you've got him on the ropes. You may walk somebody, get a base hit, but then he'll fall behind maybe 3-1, 3-1 with a count and get that ground ball double play. He's done it over and over and over again, and that's the kind of boost they need out of those spots in the starting rotation.
They had to have him because of Sellers and Hurst being down. All of a sudden, where are we going to go?
We're talking about Parrish. He was supposed to come in about 11 o'clock on a flight. I haven't had a chance to see if he's here yet. Couldn't tell in the national anthem. Be wearing number 25 when he does show up. Steve Ellsworth back to Pawtucket.
So we're down to the 24 until something else happens. There's a foul back by Willie Wilson. We are underway. Willie Wilson, center fielder. 1 for 5 in the doubleheader. And, well, who else didn't strike out last night? especially in that first game. Wilson hitting .279 with 1 home run, 15 stolen bases. And the count on him is 1 ball and 1 strike. Grandstands filled again from section 1 all the way around. The bleachers in good shape. Still some seats out there, but .85 degrees, did I hear? Either 85 or 95 at game time. And wind blowing out. 2-1. Base hit, right field. Down the line, going to be trouble with Wilson going. He's got an easy 2. The ball dug out and thrown in, and it's a double leading off the game for Willie Wilson.
Well, Wilson really doesn't pull that many balls down the right field line. The defense is kind of set up straight away on him. He'll shade him a little bit to left, but when he gets a breaking ball like that, he is able to pull the ball. And boy, when he gets in that territory with Willie Wilson, they're lucky to hold him at second with a double. Good job by Kutcher getting over there to cut that ball off.
Randy Kutcher is playing right field. Dwight Evans still having some problems with hamstrings, so it's Benziger at first and Randy Kutcher in right. Bill Pecota, the shortstop. Limited action for him this year. 9 hits in 49 times up with 1 home run. And a ball. He can play short and third. He's at shortstop today.
Stillwell has some shoulder problems, taking ground balls in the workout before coming here after the All-Star break. Just made a lot of throws to first base, came up with a little bit of stiffness. So he's taking a day off. Took the second game last night off.
1 ball and no strikes to Pecota. Lifted out of play. Pecota had a home run off Mike Smithson on the 3rd of May this year. And he's 1 for 2 against Oil Can. Been a pretty good ball player for them the last 2 seasons. He filled in the right side of the left side of the infield for the most part. Wilson at second base. Nobody out. Ball 2.
Willie Wilson on second base. It's kind of an ideal situation right now. Red Sox expecting Pecota to hit the ball the other way. Barrett has to play way over at second base almost straight away. So it's up to Jody Reed to try to keep Wilson close at second.
And Reed, as you can see, is shaded well over toward the bag, standing behind Willie Wilson if you look at it from the first base line. To right field, fairly deep, but Kutcher is back, and that's going to be easily Willie Wilson over to third. Randy Kutcher making the catch on Pecota. He does his job, goes to the opposite field in the air this time, deep enough to get Willie over.
Well, that's one of the reasons he's hitting up in the order. He can move the ball around, good bat control, and he showed it right there, moving the ball to right field and get Wilson to third base. Advance a runner as you make an out.
Talking to Pecota's counterpart on the Red Sox today, Eddie Romero, who feeling kind of bad because his knee has not gotten any better. It was for a while the main part, the surgery that he had, the arthroscopic surgery on the cartilage, okay, but it's moved around now and he can't run. Said he could hit. He had to come home from the road trip from Minnesota, and he's wondering about it. It's kind of day to day with Romero. Kevin Seitzer, third baseman, is up. Ball 1.
Very frustrating trying to come back from the knee problems, as both of us know, Ned.
That's right.
You know, you can feel good for a week or two, and then something could happen, just set you back for a couple of weeks, and it takes about 6 weeks till you get to the point where you feel like, you know, it's back where it was.
It's a hard thing, a knee, all that it does to support you. 1 ball and no strikes to Seitzer's, hitting .315 with 5 home runs. Rookie of the year last year, a curveball by a can. 2-0. Romero said, I said, can you run straight ahead? He said, I can't even run at all. So not just turning like you had the problem with, but running period. Here's George Brett on deck. The old horse is out there this afternoon. Oil can a little low and falls behind 3-0. Sean Wathan, young type manager here, really, comparatively speaking, a very young manager. Did a job for them in the minor leagues, and they brought him up.
Didn't spend too long in the minor leagues either.
No, sir.
1 year in AAA, kind of groomed as the next manager of the Royals.
Very smart operative when he played, too. Very good
ball
catcher.
player. Did all the little things the way they were supposed to be done. Could run a little bit for a catcher.
Yeah, he stole bases. 3-1. And it's ball 4 to Seitzer. Runners at first and third, 1 out. So, first inning problem for Oil Can Boyd as he goes to the meat of the order now. George Brett, who's at .329 with 13 home runs and 62 batted in. Leading the league in doubles and extra base hits. Boy, did the old warhorse come back, too. Said he was the most surprised guy in the world to be at the All-Star game in Cincinnati. He was headed for Hilton Head, South Carolina, a little bit of golf. But they called for him. He was there. A strike.
Well, if I was hitting .329 with 13 home runs, 62 RBIs, I wouldn't be surprised to be in the All-Star game.
No, why? Well, he was thinking of the first baseman in the league.
Right.
But he had that surge, I guess, when the start of the season, he had no thought of it. Came on with such a surge, as only a Brett can do. He's had 10 stolen bases, too, besides all that. Rips it to center field. Ellis Burks there, and Willie Wilson will score. 1-0 Kansas City. Brett with his 63rd run batted in. Gets his job done. So Wilson with the lead double, and his speed goes to third on a fly ball and scores on a fly ball. Danny Tarnable, the right fielder. He's right up there in doubles and in extra base hits. And he had a homer last night. Seitzer, who can run, is at first base. The fastball is up. Ball 1. Watch out. Oh, it was in and out. Almost got that one right on top of my head. Well, that takes care of that.
Tell you, we have pretty good success on the road. We don't get much action, but when we get home, one after another.
Everybody, both sides. We have not been spared. The count is 1-1. They pitch out a quick throw to first base. Gedman firing down to Benziger, but Seitzer's back.
Well, the Red Sox expecting something. You see Seitzer take off, and it has to get back in a hurry. This is very close at first base.
Gedman likes to do that. Get a free shot like that, too. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. 2 outs, 1-0 Kansas City. Lifted high toward left field. Burks over. They look at the wall. They play it off the wall. Bobbled by Burks. A run will score. Seitzer coming all the way around from first base on a high drive off the wall by Tarnable.
Boy, it looked like Todable went for a ball that was almost over his head. Pitched way up high, fastball, got it up in the wind. Really didn't look like it was hit that well. See how high that pitch is, gets on top of it. And then once he gets above the stadium here, the wind takes over and puts this ball off the wall. A little bobble right here. I believe Seitzer would have scored anyway. Todable in the second base.
Scoring that way seems to agree. A double and a run batted in for Tardable. His 50th RBI of the year, and Joe Morgan's club falls behind by 2. There's going to be a lot of that, I believe, today. Maybe get things that are lofted out that way will get some help from the wind. Pat Tabler. A strike to the ex-Cleveland Indian. Designated hitter, batting .253 with a home run.
This is the exact kind of day you don't want to bring a new pitcher into Fenway Park and say, here, here's Fenway Park, take a look at it. Wind blowing out to the left field wall.
They had enough to look at it before you even go out to the mound. It's blowing like that. Tabler's hit safely in his last 7 ball games. And he pops it up in the shallow center. Barrett back. So is Reed, and Jody Reed with a stumbling catch for the final out. Couple of runs for the Royals after a half inning. Kansas City 2, and the Red Sox coming up.
This copyrighted program is brought to you under pay cable TV rights granted by the Boston Red Sox solely for the entertainment of our viewing audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or the use of the accounts and descriptions of this game without the written consent of the New England Sports Network and the Boston Red Sox is prohibited.
Kansas City's second inning, they lead 2-0, and it'll be the lower third of their order. Jackson, McFarlane, and Wellman up against Oil Can Boyd. Late game in New York this afternoon. The White Sox will have Melito Perez going. 8-5 against Tommy John of the Yankees, 7-2. The Yankees just 1 game out of first place in the American League East. Tigers go at California later this afternoon. Robinson against Frazier. Long drive by Jackson. That's going to bring rain, hail, and sleet way off the top of that board near the flagpole. Almost entirely out of Fenway on the backboard, which is a lot higher than it used to be.
Wow.
12th home run for Jackson and a tape measure. Wow, he's right. 3-0 Kansas City. You knew it was going a long way, but you didn't know how far. And that just missed getting out of Fenway Park, the highest part in the ballpark in center field.
That's an addition they put on this ballpark a few years back when they put the new scoreboard in, and prior to that, this ball would have been completely out of Fenway Park. Ooh, dead center field. Take another look at it.
He knows that.
He's just going to watch this one.
I can't blame him. Foul ball off the bat of McFarlane for a strike. Fans down below are catching the rebound. Here's where it hit, way up there.
Wow.
Right on the several feet below the top of that high wall. Besides the Bo Jackson swing and power, there's also a breeze, and that ball that would have gotten some car somewhere. McFarlane, the catcher, taking a ball. The count is 1 ball, 1 strike. 3-0 Kansas City. And a strike. McFarlane, the catcher, hitting .268. Has a couple of home runs.
I've seen George Scott hit a couple of balls that have hit the back of that wall. I've seen Jim Rice hit a couple of balls in that area right there, but I've never seen one hit that high off that part.
Not since that wall came in there. There's a strikeout for Oil Can as he gets McFarlane looking. First strikeout for Boyd.
That looks like Oil Can goes to the outside corner with the breaking ball right here to get McFarlane. Just off the plate. But enough of the plate for the call, 3rd strike.
one out on the number 9 hitter, Brad Wellman, the second baseman, playing in place of Frank White today. White with the doubleheader last night. Wellman, 12 hits in 46 times up this year. Out of play. Jim Rice hit one right near the folds of that flag when it was not blowing out that much. It was hanging down there, which is just about the same type of thing that Jackson hit. And Rice hit that in an afternoon game here quite a while ago. They used to think that hitting that back wall before that addition was put up was a great blow. Remember when you were a kid and watching?
Absolutely.
And guys like Killebrew used to do it. In fact, Killebrew did it several times. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Wellman. Looking, ball 2.
Well, conditions were right, that's for sure. The pitch was nice. The wind blowing out, the hot weather, and a lot of strength from Bo Jackson.
Man, he just, as they say, he flicks his wrist and it goes out.
The good news is it only counts for 1 run.
That's right. It's a 2-2 count to Wellman. Wellman with the Dodgers last year hit .250, but that was in 4 times at bat and 1 hit. He is gone. Another strikeout for Boyd. Wildcat reaching a groove now after giving up the home run to Jackson.
Well, able to bounce back pretty nice after the home run. Second strikeout, this time on a curveball. Outside corner.
So he's got the next 2 guys and will face Willie Wilson, the top of the order. Strike to Wilson, who doubled to open the ball game and came around to score on a couple of fly balls. One ball, 1 strike. Two doubles and a home run for the Royals. 1-2. It's foul. Royals 3, Red Sox nothing, second inning. Off Boyd to shortstop. Nobody can handle that with Wilson going. It'll be a base hit. Literally off Oil Can Boyd. He did well to get something in front of it. It slowed it down enough, though, so that Reed had no chance to make any kind of play.
Looks like it just gets a piece of the glove of Oil Can Boyd. Looks like the fastball with 2 strikes running away from Wilson. Takes it right back up the middle. Just got it right off, actually, the finger of the glove. And once it gets past Boyd there, there's nothing but a base hit the way Wilson can run. Almost picked it.
Yeah. Runner at first base, 2 out. Bill Pacoda is up. He flied to right field in the first. Wilson, in the old days when he first came up, was having him single to lead off the game was just tantamount to getting him to second base with nobody out because he would steal immediately. Red Sox have activity in the bullpen with Dennis Lamp up. Boyd over to Benziger. Lamp appeared briefly in last night's game, second game. Everybody appeared briefly in the 7th inning, it seemed.
Wilson very similar to Ricky Henderson with the Yankees. they get on base, a pretty good chance, especially in that first inning, they're going to score a run.
See him ended up to second base and chance to manufacture themselves around as Willie did in the first inning after the double. 2 fly balls. PECOTA to the screen. Nothing in 1. Sun trying to come out a little brighter right now through the haze. It is hot downtown and heavy. Runner breaks. Gedman throws, and it's off the glove of Barrett and off the body of Wilson. He cannot get the third base as Barrett kind of scrambles around with him, going after the ball. It's a stolen base number 16 for Willie Wilson.
Well, it almost looks like Greg Koska's second base was getting ready to make the out call. See Gedman getting the fastball outside, gets away a pretty good throw. Right into Willie Wilson as it bounces off. It looked like Koska was ready to cock that arm to call him out on a pretty close play at second base. Now the ball hits. It would have been out.
Yeah, that was a good throw by Gedman. Right there in the money, but Marty's glove and the leg of Willie Wilson right there, and the leg came first.
16th stolen base for Willie.
He's 16 for 21, and the ball gets by Gedman, and Wilson goes to third. He can be such a work of art and such a nuisance to a battery when he's on the bases. So Wilson is at third base.
Ball just gets right through Gedman's glove. Ball certainly he should have had. Wilson will be able to move up to third base. It should be a pass ball.
Pass ball charged to Gedman. Runner at third, 2 outs, and a 2-1 count to PECOTA. Right side, Benziger to Boyd, and they've got him. So they leave Wilson stranded. But the Royals get another run on a tremendous homer by Jackson. And after an inning and a half, Kansas City leads 3-0. We'll be glad to have you all here because we're here and you're here. And even on an afternoon like this with the network in, we wonder how much of the NESN people are with us. We hope a lot of you.
Well, our producer Bob Whitelaw's here somewhere in the truck, but the question is he here or not? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think we brought him along too fast. Royals up in the third, and Kevin Seitzer facing Oil Can Boyd. Bang, base hit, gapper, left center field, rolling to the wall. Seitzer headed for second. He's got a double, and it is double time all afternoon so far for the Royals. They've got 3 of them along with a home run.
Well, Seitz has proved over the last couple of years that he's one of the finest players in this league already. You see Oil Can dropping down, leaving a breaking ball right up in that hitting zone of Seitzer, and he does not miss it. Gets it in the gap and has himself an easy double. I just like the way he plays the game, Seitzer. He's a lot of fun to watch.
Good all-around player. Perfect guy to come in there and relieve George Brett, who was so steadfast over the years there, and then moved Brett over to first. Worked perfectly. Here's George now, had a sacrifice fly RBI for his 63rd RBI, his first time up. And he rakes one past Barrett into center field. Seitzer headed for the barn. He will score. 4-0. George Brett, his second run batted into the afternoon. He's got 64 now.
Well, again, George Brett shows that he's a situational hitter. The first time up, needed a fly ball. They get the sacrifice fly, he gets that, and this time up, trying to move the run along and also gets himself a base hit. Pulling the ball past Barrett at second base, which allows Seitzer to come on and score. do just about a little bit of everything, Brett. Anything that's called for, he seems like he's able to get the job done.
If you want a home run, he'll try to do that for you, too. He's done that in big games in the past. He did it against Goose Gossage in a playoff game in New York. He's done it a couple of times against the Yankees in those playoff games in the 70s. I'll take him on my team.
Dennis Lamp back up in the Red Sox bullpen.
Lamp up for the second time, and this is the third inning. 4-0 Kansas City. They are raking Oil Can. 6 hits and 4 runs. 3 doubles and a homer. There's a base hit smashed into left field by Danny Tartabull, who had doubled his first time up. And Morgan comes out. Joe Morgan, headed toward the mound, has had Lamp warming as the Royals have just run at Oil Can in this one. A double and 2 singles. Right off the bat, 1 run scored, nobody out. Runners at first and second. And that is going to be it, as Dennis Lamp will be brought in. And Oil Can cannot do it again against the Kansas City Royals, the team that he's had so much trouble with over his career. Coming in, as we mentioned, 1 win and 7 losses. And he's behind here 4 runs with hardly breaking a sweat, as the Royals have really charged at him in this time. So Oil Can in 2+ innings, getting nobody out here in the third, has given up 7 hits and 4 runs, responsible for a couple of runners. He walked 1, he struck out 2, and they were in order in the second after the Jackson homer and the 1 home run to Bo Jackson. So an early shower for Boyd and an early appearance for Dennis Lamp.
Well, Lamp will be making his 4th appearance against the Kansas City Royals this year. Pitched last night in the second game, 1 inning, giving up 3 hits and 1 run. Overall, Lamp will be making his 22nd appearance of the year. 3 wins, 3 losses, 3.09 ERA, 42 hits in 46 innings, struck out 29, has only walked 8 batters. And he has that job again of trying to hold this attack right where it is, give the Red Sox a chance to get back in this ball game.
Last time that Dennis came in a situation like this was out in Chicago in that doubleheader on Friday night.
Right. When
he came on and pitched 6 2/3 innings of scoreless baseball and really just held them right there. So the Royals up and hitting early. Tartabull with a single and a double already. Seitzer with a double. Wilson with a double. Jackson with a home run. This club that likes to hit a lot of doubles anyway. Of course, in that ballpark, you're going to see a zillion of them from home and visiting clubs, but the Royals are doing it now on the road in this one. Brett has knocked in a pair of runs. Tartabull 1 and Jackson 1.
Well, last night, just about everybody got in that doubleheader. I think Troutwine was the only player that didn't get a chance to get in that game. Kutcher had a pinch running appearance. Bill Morgan going to the whole roster the first game, first 2 games.
Well, it worked. You wonder what John Troutwine is beginning to think. He has not made an appearance in so long.
June 16th in Baltimore, the last time he pitched.
Over a month ago, or a month ago today, as a matter of fact. Dennis Lamp facing Pat Tabler with 2 on, nobody out. Over a month ago, or a month ago today, as a matter of fact. Dennis Lamp facing Pat Tabler with 2 on, nobody out. Tabler popped to shortstop his first time up. Strike 1. And Bo is on deck. At least Tabler's not up with the bases loaded, where he did most of his damage over at Cleveland. This time to short, and Reed to Barrett for one. They cannot turn the double play. Runners at first and third, one out. Play really didn't develop quickly enough to turn the double play on Tabler going up the line. So he's safe on the fielder's choice, and Brett goes to third. And Bo Jackson is up.
16, Bo Jackson, left field. Jackson.
Slowly hit the short. They've got one. They've hurried, and they got two. So right off the hands of Bo Jackson for the double play, and Dennis Lamp comes in and gets the ground balls that he needed. So he disposes of 3 outs on 2 players, doing a nice job. After 2.5 innings, 4-0 Kansas City. Red Sox trailing 4-0 coming up in the 4th inning as we view Fenway from the Nesson box and our left field camera high above Fenway. Greenwell, Burks, and Rice on this hot afternoon with a hot pitcher going against them, Mark Gubicza. Mike Greenwell fly to left field in the first inning. Mike hitting .344 as he stands in. Goes for the pitch and backhanded by Brett. Gubicza covering. 1 out.
Gubicza has been able to get that ball in on the left-handed hitters. Got it in on Boggs. In the last inning, got that ball right there in on Greenwell.
Both of them heading to Brett at first.
He's the kind of guy that you kind of look for the ball middle out against, because the ball will tail away from you, especially left-handed, and then he'll straighten you up with that straight fastball inside, and that'll jam some people.
Ellis Burks has flied to left. Ball 1. Seitzer in on the grass at third with that bluff bunt by Burks. Two and 0. To left field to Jackson. Hangs up for him. And Bo pretty busy out there in this game. Records his 4th put out. Nothing's been hit too hard so far for the Red Sox except Gedman's single and Barrett's line drive out. Jim Rice drew a walk in the second. To center field, Willie Wilson. 1-2-3 for Gubicza, who's making them hit his pitch. And after 4 innings of play, the Red Sox trail 4-0. They're underway at Wrigley, and the Cubs lead the Dodgers 2-0 after 4 innings. Cubs trying to get back at the Dodgers for sweeping them. Don Zimmer's club still hanging in there pretty well. He's got to have his pitching. He's got to have Sutcliffe going. He's got a good young ball club over there now, Jerry, and they're surprising some people.
The shortstop Dunston, he's really played well for him.
Yep.
Palmero, the outfield, a good hitter. I saw him a couple of years ago in Double-A. He could hit in Double-A. He just carried it right on into the big leagues.
Dunston's a guy that Zimmer worked with and then got in a fight with this year.
Yeah, I read about that, yeah.
But I think they sued that over. But Zimmer's always liked his ability. Fly to right field, and Randy Kutcher. Bill Pacoda is out as we begin the 5th inning.
I guess with Dunson, they were saying that he told the coaches in spring training, just leave him alone. Let him go play his game. I guess everybody was trying to force feed him a lot of things.
A lot of coaches.
And he's relaxed a little bit, playing much better. And then I guess he and Zim get into it in the dugout just before the All-Star break.
Yeah, something about a missed sign or something that Zim read him off in the dugout with. And,
it's unusual, too, to have Zim upset like that.
Such a calm fellow. Seitzer taking a ball. A lot of things happening in dugouts and managers this year. I mean, Lee Elia of the Philadelphia Phillies has been hit 3 times by helmets being thrown by his players after striking out. That sounds a little much. Foul ball Benzinger's way, and he does not get it. He thought he was nearer to the dugout than he actually was. I don't know if he was coached in there or not, but he just kind of stuck out the glove, and it's no play.
A little bit tough to tell from this angle right here if we can see anybody up there helping him out. He starts to tiptoe when he gets in this area. He knows he's on the track, and he knows there's nothing to hold him up. Not exactly a lot of help right there. After the play, Reniak's there to help him out.
There goes another one into the dugout. Seitzer with a life has a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, the one thing you want to do when you start firing those helmets around the dugout is not hit the manager.
3 times he's got it, and he finally got into it with Devon Hayes because Hayes tapped him with 1. There's a base hit to center by Seitzer, and he's perfect for the afternoon with a single, a double, and a walk. First hit off Lamp. And the 8th hit for the Royals. Seitzer on. He makes a habit of getting a lot of multi-hit games against the Red Sox, including a 6-hit game last year. George Brett is perfect with a sacrifice fly and a single. 2 runs batted in. Ball 1. Oil Can Boyd started and was knocked out of the box early. Went 2 innings, getting nobody out in the 3rd, left in the 3rd. Threw 44 pitches while giving up 7 hits and 4 runs, including the homer to Bo Jackson. And a 2-ball, no strike count. Out of play. 2-2 to Brett. Two and 1 to Brett. He is crowded on that pitch and fouls it off himself. 2-2.
Ball running in on Brett, takes a swing. Looks like it goes right down off his thigh, his left thigh. That's an unusual place to get hit. That back leg pulling through. Gets him right off the thigh. Claps the bat and walks away.
It's a hard one to shake off. 2 balls, 2 strikes to George. Mickey Cobb, the trainer of the Kansas City Royals, been that way for a long time. One of the most respected at his position in baseball. Two balls, 2 strikes on Brett. Seitzer at first base. 1 out in the 5th, and Kansas City leading 4-0. And Seitzer takes off. Long drive, left field by Brett. That's going to be off the wall. Seitzer heading for 3rd. Brett goes into 2nd. Runners at 2nd and 3rd as Seitzer is held there. Fabian Jarrett Garrett making the stop at third base. Runners at second and third, one out. And Brett is 2 for 2. George already leading the league in doubles. Adds another one here.
Now this is a ball right here hit by Brett that's going to go off the wall. Seitzer was off with the pitch, and it looks like a ball that if he'd been able to read right away, it certainly would have been able to score. Maybe being a little bit more familiar with Fenway Park, the wind conditions, the wall, probably would have just kept on running. But he slowed up a little bit around second base to make sure the ball was not caught, and he only ends up on third.
I thought he was going to score when it was off the wall. He had rounded second, was headed for third base with pretty good head of steam, and all of a sudden held up. Tartabull is the batter. He's got a double and a single. And the Royals into their double trouble. Fastball by Lamb. Now John Troutwine is warming in the bullpen for Boston.
Brett really reminds me of Freddie Lynn a lot right here in Fenway Park. Able to use that wall just about any time he wants to.
Yep. Perfect type of hitter for here. Tartabull doubled home a run in the first and singled in the third. Takes the strike. 2-1. Red Sox have the infield in this 4-0 game with Gubicza going the way he is. You have to kind of gamble a little bit and try to cut off any further scoring. Chance like this to get an out, maybe hold the runner at third, then the infield could move back. But a tough hitter up there for the infield to be in on. Tartabull. Strike 2. 2-2. Breaking pitch by Lamb, just a piece of it for Tartabull. Seitzer at third and Brett at second with one out. Plops it foul out of play.
There's obviously no rule written in cement about when you play the infield in and when you do not play it in. Certainly in this game, the way Gubicza has been going, already has a 4-run lead and has only given up 2 base hits to the Red Sox. He'll try to cut down as many runs as he can.
You don't want to concede this at this stage of the game. It's 5th inning. And the team being shut out and down by 4. 2-2. Hard breaking ball, ball 3. Feeding him sliders away, fouls it off. 3-ball, 2-strike count.
Well, he's had the advantage to be able to work on him a little bit, throwing more sliders than maybe he would with first base open. Chance to set up possibly the double play, but look who's on deck.
Don't want to. Tabler up with the bases loaded. There's no day at the beach. 2 on, 1 out. Tough at bat given by Tartabull, but also a good job of getting that ball in there in the strike zone by Dennis Lamb.
There's a ball right there. Tartabull was his fastball and was up a little bit. A good ball for him to put in the air to get this, at least a sacrifice fly.
3-2 to Danny Tartabull. First base, Benziger will hold the runner. Step on the bag. Seitzer has to hold at third, so it worked, at least for now. The drawn-in infield prevents a run from scoring, and now they can move back.
Well, you got the sinker ball pitcher and Lamp, and you hope he gets the ball on the ground and hope it's right at somebody. And that time it was right to Benziger first. Seitzer not playing contact that time, making sure the ball goes through before he does go home, goes back to third.
Good bit of pitching that time by Dennis Lamb. Getting that pitch in the strike zone. Ball 1 to Pat Tabler. Tabler has popped to short and had a fielder's choice. Guy's a pretty good hitter. He always was for Cleveland. Played him at first base some. DH a lot. When they got Willie Upshaw over there at Cleveland, it opened up a spot for them to send Tabler here and get a left-handed pitcher, Bud Black.
He's done a good job since coming to the Royals, too, at 291 for Kansas City.
Up the middle and a base hit off the bag, which will score 2 runs. So that didn't work that time, as Tabler comes through in the clutch, as he so often does, and bangs a 2-run single, making it a 6-0 ball game. Tabler with his 31st and 32nd runs batted in.
Well, got a tough out with Todderbolt, but right here has to go to Tabler, and back up the middle he goes. Good clutch hitting right there to drive the 2 runs in with 2 outs.
Always kind of worry when he comes up to the plate. Bo Jackson, ball 1. Jackson has homered and hit into a double play. This homer was hit into Haverhill, I think. Way off the high part of the center field wall, just missing, going out of Fenway in center. A strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wild swing and a breaking ball. 1-2 to Bo. Lamp in this inning has given up a single, a double, and a 2-out single. Damaging single by Tabler. 4-0 is bad enough with the Blues going the way he is, but 6-0 makes it very, very tough indeed. Ball 3. John Troutwine still throwing out in right center. Runner breaks and it's fouled. The Heisman from Auburn. Piece of work in a football uniform, too. Punch toward Barrett. 2 runs for the Royals in the 5th. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning with the Red Sox trailing 6-0. Red Sox have a lot of work to do. They trailed Mark Gubicza and the Royals 6-0 as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. The wind is blowing out at Fenway Park, we will add, and has been since the outset of the game. Marty Barrett is 1 for 2, an infield hit in the 3rd.
Gubicza struggled a little bit last inning. A couple of balls hit pretty well off him. A couple of balls back to the backstop, but was able to get out of it. Let's see if that carries over into the 6th inning.
He's got the 2-3-4 hitters to face him here. Strike one on the fastball. One strike. 1-1. Gubicza has walked a couple. He has just one strikeout, 2 wild pitches, and a run-saving catch by Bo Jackson. Otherwise, he's been in complete control. Threads that outside corner. 1-2 to Marty. A 2-ball, 2-strike count. Reaching and fouling. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Boggs on deck. Cubs lead the Dodgers, or now they've tied up. The Dodgers have tied up the Cubs 2-2 in the 6th inning at Wrigley. Ooh, coming in very tight to Marty. Hershiser working for the Dodgers. He's 13-4. Jamie Moyer started for Zimmer and left in the 6th inning. Lancaster pitching. There's a base hit. Barrett starts the 6th with a single. Barrett's second hit, and Kevin Romine coming in from the outfield from the bullpen area.
Well, Gubicza ran a fastball in on Barrett the pitch previous to this. Now he tries to go to the slider, and Barrett's ready for it. Got a pretty good look at that ball right off the bat.
Wade Boggs. Strike one. Boggs has walked and grounded out. One ball, one strike. It's only the second time in the game that the Red Sox have had the lead batter on. Gedman led the 3rd inning with a single. Out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Benziger did lead the last inning with a single. And of course, was the base runner when Gedman was robbed of a base hit on Jackson's catch. One ball and 2 strikes. Count evens up at 2 on Boggs. Again, the outfield bunched to left center. The Royals almost always play him that way. Have through the years. It goes that way and gets it into the gap. Got cut off by Jackson. 2 on, nobody out. Back-to-back singles by Barrett and Boggs put people on base for Mike Greenwell. Well, the Red Sox, for the first time, look as if they have something going. For the second time in the game, they have 2 on base in the same inning. Greenwell has flied to left and grounded to first. strike on that outside corner.
Well, this is a situation right here where Gubicza try to keep that ball down, try to keep that movement on it, get that sinker working a little bit, that hard sinking, trying to get the ground ball for the double play.
Greenwell wanted Greg Kosk, the second base umpire, to get out of his line of vision, which he did. Well, there's a change that got him. And it's strike 2 to Mike.
He really doesn't throw that many changes where you have to think about it all the time, but then he'll sneak one in on you like you did right there to Greenwell and get you way, way out in front.
Had him digging for is a good spot for it down low, too. 0-2. Almost hit him. Ball 1. Ball 2 and a 2-2 count to Greenwell. So Gubicza, who as mentioned struggled a little bit in the 5th inning, struggling here. He's had a couple of 2-2 counts on batters. He's given up 2 hits. No activity yet in the Kansas City bullpen. Gubicza has a 6-0 lead. Marty Barrett at second base. Up the middle, base hit. Barrett will come on to score. Red Sox are on the board. They trail 6-1. RBI number 73 for Mike Greenwell.
Well, Gubicza did not get the ball down. Got the ball up a little bit. Greenwell is able to lift this ball, get it into center field, and Barrett comes around to score. Barrett had a little bit of trouble coming around third base and scoring. Looks like his legs bothered him a little bit. Maybe from last night when he banged into the top down the first base line, and maybe his knee may be acting up on him a little bit. See a little bit of a limp right there in Barrett.
He scores, and they've reached Gubicza for 3 straight hits and a run here. A 5-run lead for the Kansas City Royals. And Kevin Romine is running for Greenwell. So the bench coming in.
Greenwell leaves the game and kept his hitting streak alive now 9 games. I don't know if anything's wrong with Greenwell at this point in the game, or he's just getting him out of there to give him a little bit of rest.
At any rate, Kevin Romine, who had come in from the bullpen, as you saw, was going to be in there for somebody. We didn't know whether it was going to be Barrett if he was having trouble with the running, so they certainly have Owen ready. Jeff Montgomery. Jeff Montgomery in the Royal bullpen now. Ellis Burks is up with 2 on and nobody out, 1 run in. Burks has flied twice to Bo Jackson in left. Strike 1. Breaking ball, a little off speed that time. 0-1 to Ellis. Boggs at second, Romine at first. Back here. 0-2. We're in the 6th inning. The Red Sox have scored their first run. They trail 6-1. Nobody out. Goes high to shallow right center. And infield fly rule is called as the second baseman Brad Wellman goes back on the grass to make the catch. First base umpire Rocky Rowe coming up with the infield fly sign. So there's 1 down, runners still at first and second.
Gubazar's gotten a couple of balls up. Got that breaking ball right there up to Burks. But got it away enough, so he just hit it off the end of the bat for the pop up to second base.
Now it's Jim Rice up. He has walked and flied to center.
The warm weather may be taking its toll on Gubazar.
Looks a little more dragged out.
Taking a little bit more time between pitches, some deep breaths.
It's hot down in the field. And humid. Working to Rice. Aimed outside, ball one. Breeze through the first four. Got a good catch from Jackson to help him in the fifth. And now has given up a run in the sixth. Missing outside, ball two. Rice up in the count, 2-0. Outfield away toward right field on Rice. They give him the whole left field line, all of it. Takes the strike. 2-1. Willie Wilson well over into right center and not very deep. Tartable toward the line in right. And Bo Jackson almost at the end of the old scoreboard in left field. Out toward left center. Way over there. You see where Jackson comes into your picture? Almost right there. Not quite. Ball three. There is Jackson. 3-1 to Jim Rice.
Well, the Royals are playing Rice in the outfield almost like a left-handed pull hitter would be played. Jackson's got an awful lot of room to cover. He's got the speed that can do it.
Now a 3-1 count to Rice. It's high, ball four, and they're loaded up. Rice gets his second walk. Romine goes to second and Boggs to third. And the batter will be Benzinger.
Well, you see John Wathan right there taking a look at home plate umpire Darrell Cousins. Gubazar also took a long look. That looked like a pretty good pitch.
So Gubazar in a bases-loaded situation facing Benzinger. Todd Benzinger has grounded into a double play and singled to right. That was his first hit since the Chicago homer. Strike one. He pops it up. Foul ground. Seitzer. And the big one goes by the boards that time for the Red Sox. As Benzinger pops up. And the bases are still loaded.
Yeah, that's the situation right there Joe Morgan was talking about. Taking advantage of those situations with men on base. Getting the ball lifted and into the outfield. Trying to score some runs. Get a sacrifice fly at least out of it.
Drive the ball somewhere. But it wasn't done, and now it's up to Gedman with 2 out. 6-1 Kansas City. Gedman robbed by Jackson his last time up and singled to right center his first time up. He sends it fair down the right field line. 2 runs will score. Runners at first and third, 6-3. Gedman has been on Gubazar all afternoon. Hit a rope down the right field line, just fair.
Well, a big hit right there by Gedman. It looked like Gubazar may again get out of some trouble, but Gedman does not let him. Another line drive off his bat. Hit the ball hard 3 times today. Able to get 2 runs in with this, and the Red Sox right back in the game.
Here we go now with Dwight Evans coming up to pinch hit for Kutcher. So the Fenway faithful starting to get back into the action as the Red Sox are. They trail by 3 runs in the 6th. And Dwight Evans will bat for Randy Kutcher.
They talk about that situation with the man on third base, less than 2 outs, trying to get that sacrifice fly. You don't really have to change your swing to do it, but you got to change your thinking a little bit. You got to kind of look for balls that you know you can lift in the air. Obviously, a ball down around your knees is a tough pitch to get up in the air. And that time it looked like Benziger had a pretty good pitch, just got in on him a little bit and popped it up. But if you start thinking about changing your swing in those situations, then you're really going to be messed up.
Yeah.
But you got to change your thinking. You got to look for a pitch that you know you can get up in the air, something belt up. Obviously, the pitcher knows that also, and he's not trying to give you that pitch. But you have to have a little bit of patience.
And then hope he makes a mistake on it and get that pitch up so he can belt one someplace. All right, here's Evans, pinch hitting for Kutcher. He's hit in 8 of his last 10 games. 3-run, 6th inning for Boston gets the Red Sox back in it against Mark Gubicza. Ball 1. Gap on Evans is in right center field. Willie Wilson has moved toward left center now, and Bo Jackson back toward the line. Gedman at first, Rice at third. 2 out. Jackknife for ball 2. 2-0. An unusual duty for Dwight Evans to have, the pinch hitting duty, but right now Joe Morgan wants his big man in there to try to clean up one and get a big base hit and put the Red Sox right back in the middle of it. Ball 3. Evans count.
Well, that's the thing for a guy that's accustomed to playing every day. You come to the ballpark, you think you're going to get a day off, have a little bit of trouble with your legs, and you're not in the starting lineup, but you really have to stay in the ball game because these situations might arise during the game. You might be called a pinch hit.
Pretty good guy to have coming off the bench. 3-0, and let's see about the green light here. Evans up, 2 outs, 2 on. He represents the tying run all of a sudden. And the ball gets away on ball 4, and Rice will score. It's a walk to Evans. Ball gets away from McFarland. Rice comes in on a wild pitch, and it's 6-4. And John Wathan has seen about enough.
Well, we've seen this a couple of times today. Ball getting off the glove of McFarland, back to the backstop. Rice will be able to come on the score. Make it a 2-run ball game. Gubicza, who has struggled the last couple of innings, looks like that may be it for him as John Wathan comes out to the mound.
Jeff Montgomery has been ready, and he will come on as Dwight Evans will draw the walk. And on the wild pitch, Rice comes sailing in from third base for the 4th run of the inning. Kansas City 6, the Red Sox 4, and this is Fenway on a Saturday afternoon. Gubicza, who is sailing along through the first 5 innings pretty well, now will leave, having gone 5 2/3 innings. He has given up 7 hits and 4 runs. He is responsible for 2 runners. He walked 4. He struck out just 1, and he had 3 wild pitches. So it really got to him, the location and the eventual wild pitch that got the 4th run in. So all of a sudden, the Kansas City Royals are looking over their shoulders as the Red Sox have scored 4 times. Jerry Don Gleaton, the left-hander, has replaced Montgomery in the bullpen, and Jeff Montgomery comes out to the mound to warm up.
Well, this will be Montgomery's 5th appearance against the Red Sox this season, as a record of 2-0 against Boston and a 1.80 ERA. Overall, it'll be his 17th appearance of the season. 2 wins, 1 loss, 3.80 ERA. 23 2/3 innings, giving up 20 hits. He struck out 18 and walked 9.
6-run uprising, or a 6-inning uprising of 4 runs, and the Red Sox are definitely back in the game.
Montgomery pitched 2 1/3 innings last night, allowing 2 hits, a run, walked a couple, struck out 1.
Jeff Montgomery. Comes into a situation where he sees a tying run at first base. Montgomery, 5'11", 180, from Wellston, Ohio. He's 26 years old, around the Cincinnati area. Was working with the Reds last year and had a 2-2 mark in 14 games with no saves. He had 1 start for the Reds. Last year was his first year in the major leagues. He played baseball at Marshall University in West Virginia. And he gets to look at Jody Reed with 2 on and 2 out. Reed, the 9th man of this inning up for Boston. Jody is 0 for 3. Flied twice to center and grounded to the pitcher. Strike 1. One strike to Reed. Very high, third base way, and Seitzer goes into foul ground. That ends the inning as Montgomery gets Reed, and they leave 2, but they score 4. And we go to the 7th. Kansas City 6 and Boston 4. Well, we got a new pitcher coming on for the Kansas City Royals. Jerry Don Gleaton, as both managers go into their bullpen on this hot day. It's about 98 degrees. And Red Sox 2 to tie.
Well, we've seen plenty of the bullpen the last couple of nights. Last night, the second game, and again here today. Jerry Don Gleaton pitched 2 perfect innings last night in the first game. Overall, he'd be making his 16th appearance for the Royals. No wins, 1 loss, 2.50 ERA. 18 innings pitched, 14 hits, 10 strikeouts, and 9 walks.
The crowd today, 34,466. Boy, it's the 18th straight home crowd over 30,000. As the Red Sox are packing them in. Meanwhile, most of the time in 5th or 4th place. They're out, and baseball's the name of the game. Baseball did have 3 weeks now to itself, but now the camps begin for football. And then the Celtics will start their work to get back into October in another month or 2.
Between basketball and hockey, you get a little bit of baseball in between, and then football starts up. A lot of overlapping seasons.
A lot more than there used to be.
Yeah.
Benziger, Gedman, and Evans coming up this inning. Rick Cerrone will come out and bat for Gedman with the left-hander Gleaton going. Cerrone on deck. Ball 1. Todd Benziger switching around to the right side is 1 for 3 this afternoon. He started out as the first baseman and went on to play left field in the 6th inning. 7th inning.
Looks like the Royals have Steve Farr up in their bullpen.
No, he's their big man now.
He's the guy now.
Yep. He reaches, does Benziger, and pops it up into shallow right. Tartabull calls everybody off. 1 out. So Benziger is gone to Tarnable, and Rick Cerrone is batting for Rich Gedman. Gedman had a good afternoon batting against the right-handed pitching. He got 2 for 3 and was robbed of a double on the great catch by Bo Jackson. Cerrone coming up, hitting .317. 3 home runs, 22 batted in. Still the find of the year for the Red Sox, who are hoping they can find more of the same in Larry Parrish. Hitting .359 against left-handed pitching. 28 hits and 78 times up. And he's hitting a ton here at Fenway, .381. 2 balls, no strikes. Two and one. Kansas City 6 runs and 12 hits. Boston 4 runs, 7 hits, and an error. There's a strike. Big pitch. And out of play. Glove of McFarland, but that's all that Cerrone can get. So Rick Cerrone with a 1-out walk tries to start things for Boston. With Dwight Evans coming up and Gleaton on the mound and Steve Farr in the bullpen, John Wathan makes his slow way to the pitcher's mound. Jerry Don Gleaton with the walk to Cerrone, putting the tying run at the plate in the person of Dwight Evans. And plate umpire Darrell Cousins goes out to hurry things up. Farr is ready as far as that's concerned. He doesn't take much for a reliever to get warm normally, and in this kind of day, hardly at all.
Well, Wathan just wasting a little bit of time trying to get his relief pitcher, his ace, a couple more pitches anyway. That's effective, and he makes the call to the bullpen.
He gets about 3 or 4 pitches out of that visit to the mound. So that is it for Jerry Don Gleaton, who works 1/3 of an inning. And we're seeing all kinds of things whirling around between these two managers today in this 6-4 game. As Gleaton goes 1/3 of an inning, walks 1, and is responsible for a runner. And coming on, the normal closer for the Kansas City Royals now, with Quisenberry gone and Garber gone, Steve Farr.
Well, they're bringing the hot hand in. Farr is 5 for 5 in save situations since June 29th. Overall, he'll be making his 36th appearance for Kansas City. 2 wins, 1 loss. Outstanding 1.92 ERA. Has 9 saves to his credit.
Remember the first time we saw him, he was with the Cleveland Indians and was not making a lot of waves on the shores of Lake Erie. That was in 1984 when he won 3 and lost 11, coming up from the Maine Guides that season. Went to Omaha after he'd been traded to the Kansas City organization and won 10 and lost 4. He was a starter then in 1985. Since that time had been mostly with the Royals. Last year 4 and 3 with 1 save in 47 appearances. He was not their late man last year. He was usually a setup man or a long reliever. But he will throw you an assortment of different stuff. He's not going to overpower you at all. He's not that kind of pitcher. A lot of breaking pitches.
Good over-the-top curveball. Worked a scoreless inning last night in the second game. See Bo Jackson out in left field. Took a little walk in the scoreboard. Take a look what's going on behind there and come back out now. You know, I always wondered when I first came to Boston, I see Yaz standing up there talking to the scoreboard. And I would figure out who he was talking to. Then I realized somebody had to be back there to be putting those numbers down.
That's right. They worked very hard back there,
yeah,
too.
I was always saying, oh, the game really got to him.
Well, you know, Yaz, it might have been just a scoreboard. All right, Dwight Evans up. He drew a walk as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning. Red Sox are down by 2 runs, 8th inning, 1 out. And Evans at the last moment got that step out that he wants. As Farr had taken too long, hands-on hit, says, what's wrong with that pitch? And plate umpire Cousins said time was out, so it's no pitch. Cerrone at first base, 1 out. Breeze blowing from right to left toward the wall. Lays off an off-speed pitch for a strike. Joe Morgan trying to pull one out here. Over the top with a fastball for ball 1.
Well, the way this game was going for a while, and Gubazar, the way he was pitching, 6-0. It looked like it was going to be a very long afternoon, but the Red Sox been able to come back and make this a ball game.
1 ball, 1 strike. Here it goes, high drive left field, and this one is tied up. Dwight Evans.
Nice fastball on the inside part of the plate, and Evans puts it into the net. Didn't exactly crush it, but certainly got it good enough to tie this score. Well, Joe Morgan knew what he was doing when he put him 9th in the order.
Oh, man.
Let's take a look at the reaction from Dwight Evans. He knows he's got it. One of those that you had to watch a little bit. Not quite sure.
Game is brand new as Evans ties it up with a home run in the 8th. 6-6. Jody Reed with a strike. Ninth homer for Evans on the year, and a very, very big one. Topping off, at least for now, a comeback of 6 runs by Boston. They trailed 6-0. As late as the top of the 6th inning. One of those runs charged to Gleaton, 1 to Farr. Reed has a count of 2-2. Jody is 0 for 4 from the leadoff spot. And just inside to Jody, ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Lee Smith working in earnest in right center field. Three balls, 2 strikes. Jody Reed. Right up the middle. That's going to be a base hit. Reed singles and turns into the possible lead run. Here's Joe Morgan's reaction to the Evans home run in the dugout. Way to go, gang. Way to go, gang. Well, you see them, though, a lot of those, and when you're managing in whatever league, minor, major, you see them come against you, you see them go for you. So it's 6-6, and Reed is at first with one out. Marty Barrett is the batter. Barrett is 2 for 4. Ball 1. Mr. Evans, hamstrings and all. Walk as a pinch hitter, stays in the game as a first baseman, and hits a 2-run homer. And the crowd, which has been a good one anyway, even though they were sitting on their hands for 5 innings, has really been a gung-ho crowd this afternoon, waiting for a chance to explode, and they just did. One 1-0 to Barrett. Far over to first base.
Plenty of attention given to Jody Reed on first base. Obviously, this combination of Reed and Barrett, a few things can happen. Possibility of a steal, hit and run.
A little bit low. Barrett will account his way 2-0. Boggs on deck. One down. Barrett takes a strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. Barrett checking off with rack slider, giving Joe Morgan's sign as to what he might have Barrett doing. Morgan likes to hit and run. He's got a good man up there to do it. Big hole on the right side. He'll hold right there and freeze Jody Reed at first. Try to take that extra half step or something away from Jody, who is not taking that big a lead off first.
Also try to get some kind of, see if they can get some kind of movement. If he takes a little step towards second base or leans a little bit, that may be an indication that there's a play on.
He takes off. Barrett in the hole. Base hit. Reed will stop at second base. So they had a hit and run. Barrett cleared out the inside pitch and gets his 3rd hit. 2 are on with 1 out.
Well, it's really about the only place in the ballpark that he hit the ball and Reed would not end up on third base. The hit and run is on, and Barrett's able to find the hole between third and short. But Jackson puts a good charge on this ball, really not playing that deep to start with, and Reed's only able to go to second base.
But they got the base hit out of it instead of a ground ball to deep second. And now the lead run is at second. A pad run at first. There's 1 out, and Wade Boggs up with 1 away in the 8th inning. 6-6. Rick Anderson, one of the pitchers warming, along with Sanchez for the Royals. And it's a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 ball, no strikes to Boggs. Wade has had 1 hit and 2 walks. He's 1 for 2 and has scored a run.
Anderson the right-hander, Sanchez the left-hander.
Ball 2, and Farr has worked behind ever since coming in. 2 balls, no strikes to Wade Boggs. Strike. He just nicks that outside corner for strike 1. 2-1. Strike 2, same place. Now Boggs 2-2. Boggs hit a whole slew of foul balls on a 2-2 count, 3-2 count in the 7th. Finally walked. Kevin Romine on deck. Reaches, slaps that outside pitch foul. Farr works him about the same place, a little farther out from the 2 strikes that he just threw in.
It almost looks by Boggs' reaction that, especially with the count, 2 balls, no strikes, and then again on 2-1, and that pitch right there, that he was looking for the ball inside or expected something inside.
The last moment had to lunge across the plate to save it. 2-2. And he bangs it into second. There's one, and they pick up the double play. He hit it hard, but Wellman was right there to turn it into a 4-6-3 double play to kill it. The Red Sox get 2, and we go to the 9th, tied up 6-6. We're in the 9th inning, and the bottom half tied up 6-6. Royal Flush, all right. The Poor People's Pub. And where? Someplace in New Hampshire. Yeah. They're here in right field, deep right field in the stands. And they're seeing a pretty good ball game this afternoon, 34,000 plus in the bottom of the 9th in a game that saw the Red Sox fall behind 6-0 at one time and stay that way until the top of the 6th. Then they got 4 in the 6th inning, and Dwight Evans, 2-run homer, tied it up in the 8th. They had a chance to go ahead, maybe for good, in the bottom of the 8th, but a hard ground ball by Boggs was turned into a double play. So now it's Kevin Romine first up against Steve Farr. Romine to be followed by Ellis Burks and Jim Rice. Kevin came on as a runner for Greenwell in the 6th inning. Got up in the 7th and walked. Breaking pitch from Farr for strike 1. Outfield, 2 steps toward right. He goes deep, left field, high into the air. Game's over. Home run, Kevin Romine. Red Sox win it 7-6. Kevin Romine leading off the 9th. Gets his first Major League homer as the crowd is going ape out here.
A little bit something extra, too. Getting it from a guy that spends most of his time on the bench, gets a chance to come into the ball game today because of the injury to Greenwell, and certainly takes advantage of it. Right here, a breaking ball that's left up a little bit, and Romine does not miss it. This ball hard into the screen.
He's looking for that breaking pitch, looked like. He got one the first pitch, too, for a strike. He deposits it in the net. His first Major League homer. A magnificent comeback.
Nice feeling right about there. Got a game winner. Take a look at his reaction.
It's the first show of emotion Kevin Romine has made since spring training, I think. Oh, is he a happy young guy?
Can't get rid of the smile.
And our Texaco player of the game is number 16, Kevin Romine, the game breaker. His first Major League homer to win it for the Red Sox dramatically, 7-6 in the bottom of the ninth. The final score, Red Sox 7, Kansas City 6. Stay tuned next for the Polaroid Red Sox Instant Replay.